we are still factorizing using the distributive law method, but why are we still talking about it? We want to look at a different variation of the question. So this is yet again an algebraic expression with two terms. Like I said, when you are factorizing, you actually look for pairs, all right, 2 or 4 or so on and so forth. Since we have two terms here, we're good to go. Now, I'm looking at a different variation of algebraic expression, all right? Now, what do I mean? I have a negative 20x squared and a negative 15x squared, all right? We have the negative here that is common. We also have the x squared that is common. Now let's go back to the steps that we talked about earlier, how to factorize using the distributive law method. Step 1 is we find the highest common factor, or in some cases factors. And step 2, we go ahead and factorize. So let's work. Now let's observe these two algebraic terms rather, and let's see what are the highest common factors. So let's talk about the numbers or the coefficients in this case. What is the highest common factor that can go into 20 and 15? That will be 5. That will be 5. All right, let's put that here. 5. Good. Now, we now can take our attention to the variable. Let's see what is common between the variables. X squared, we see both of them have x squared. So both the x squared happen to be common there. All right, in our previous video we talked about, we didn't have x squared as being common, we had x. Now there's something else there that is common. Let's look here. The negative or the sign is common, so not only the coefficient we factorize out and the variable with the power that's common, we also have a common sign. So this is a different example. You want to keep this in mind. So now we can factorize out the factors. So now we ask ourselves, minus 5x squared multiplied by what gives us minus 20x squared. So let's work it simply like we would have done in the past. Let's work with the coefficient. 5 times what will give us 20? Well, 5 4s are 20. Let's work with x squared. X squared times what gives us x squared? That would be 1. In that case, we don't have to put anything here, right? So that's given. Now, let's consider with a sign now. A negative times what gives us a negative? Well, it's a negative times a positive gives us a negative, or is it a negative times a negative gives us a negative? No, unlike signs when we multiply it, once we're doing with pairs, we are getting a negative. So negative times a positive 4 here will give us a negative there. So we're good to go. So minus 5x squared multiplied by 4, positive 4 gives us minus 20x squared. Good, so we can move on. So we let's leave a sign here. We're not sure what sign we have to put there. As a matter of fact, let's bring down that negative sign. We're not sure yet, but we're going to check it in a few. Good. Now let's ask ourselves, 5 times what gives us 15? Well, we know 5 times 3 gives us 15, right? Well, x squared is common here and it's there, so we don't have to put anything there. So we can close the bracket. Now let's check the sign. A negative times a negative is a negative, or is it a negative times a positive gives us a negative? The second one is correct. Negative times a negative gives us a positive in this case. Online signs multiplied here gives us a negative. So that's where we really figure out at the end, all right, instead of a negative sign that we bring down, that will not multiply it back to give us negative 15x squared. We need to have a positive. So negative 5x squared multiplied by positive 3 gives us negative 15x squared. And that's how we solve in such an example where we have the minus sign, which is common, and the x squared.